There, but not here. I wonder what it is. Maybe tomorrow we turn right. Well, hello and welcome here to Puebla, Mexico. We're getting set and ready for the first of our live stream international competitions that are going to be brought to you on Facebook, on YouTube, as well as Clip My Horse. But there's been so much sport to enjoy already over the last few days. But we are setting ready to get underway here. Just taking a quick look at the start list. We've got some great riders actually coming forward. A real varied field. Many nations in there. You can see on the start list, obviously plenty from the home nation. We've also got Chile in there, Guatemala, Great Britain is here, we've got Brazil, we've got one from the USA in there as well. So it's going to be a good field coming forward. It is a jump-off format, so any tie for first place after round number 1 will take us to that single jump-off against the clock, where time breaks all ties. Great to have so many people joining us from around the world watching as well. Just having a quick look at the comments on YouTube. We've got Rainy watching in Australia. Tildy's watching in Denmark. Horses Are My Life from Croatia. Potatoes in the UK. Who else have we got? Lost NTX from New Mexico. And Alyssa from Austria, all joining us here on the FEI YouTube channel. Hi to Judy Burns as well, who says, hi Adam, look forward to another great event. And she's watching from Florida. Bet it's nice and sunny down there as well, Judy. But as I mentioned, it is a jump-off format here this afternoon. So, we're going to see all our athletes come forward in the first round. We're bound to get a jump-off with 44 in it. But all those that will be tied for first come back. They compete against the clock over a shortened course. And it's going to be an exciting one when we get there. But lots of excitement to enjoy before then. Our course designer at this one, Marina Azevedo, our only Olympic-level course designer that is a female in the whole wide world. She's a level 4 international course designer. She knows the venue well. We've seen her here before. So we look forward to seeing what she has in store for these athletes as they come forward in this first round of competition. And of course, this weekend, there's plenty of sport to enjoy, but we are working our way towards the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup Puebla. It's the second last of the North American League qualifiers. So a lot of the athletes we see here this afternoon will be coming back and will be performing in that World Cup with us here on Saturday. Any questions, any comments, stick them in the comments box below if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook Live. If you're watching anywhere else or you just fancy doing it, you can also follow me on Instagram. Just search for Adam Cromarty and you can send messages on there as well. But it looks like we are about to get underway here. Best of luck, of course, to all involved. And it is going to be Andrea Hacimoros and Alaregia de Valhenre from Mexico that is going to be getting us underway here in this first round of competition. This is a 14-year-old mare. It's a Self-Francais by Quite Easy. Andrea jumped this horse here last week in the 140s, 145s. It's a horse she's had for a couple of years now, about 2.5 years. But let's take a quick look at this partnership as they get on course. So we start over this Horse Logistics Oxer, a little bit ascending. From here, left-handed, coming back round to the vertical at 2. Then it's right-handed as you land here, and you kind of head towards the long side, just in front of VIP Hospitality, over this wall that comes quite early on in course. Bit of a bending line now. down to a related test. The Oxer coming in at fence number 4, 5 strides. Then you're up towards this vertical at 5. A little bit of a skinny one, going to be delicate, and it does come down. Left-handed now to the double, 2 strides in here. So Oxer, 1, 2, and then out over that vertical. Then it's left-handed as we come down towards the Oxer at fence number 7. A little bit square, that one. Front rail comes down. 7 strides down towards the vertical at fence number 8. And then bending back round here. Oxer at 9, 4 strides. Double through 10A, 10B. First part comes down, so we're on 12. Left-handed to the World Cup fence there, fence number 11. Rolling back round here towards the 3rd double on this course. 12A, 12B, second part coming down there. And then we are going to finish over this tiny, tiny plank at fence number 13. She comes home in 82.18. 16 faults is going to be the score there for that partnership that does get us underway here. But, you know, a lot to like on that course as well. And she's given us a great look round, hasn't she? Bernardo Novelli and Golacelio coming forward next for Chile. El Chile is the name of the horse, a 10-year-old stallion, this one. This is a rider we've seen at the Pan American Games in the past. So let's see what he makes of this course. A lot of the riders that we see working here will have been here with us last week as well. There was a 2-star event on. He falls into that category. He was actually winning here last week at the 145 level. Fences today standing at 1.50 m. And Bernardo brought this horse out on the FEI circuit as an 8-year-old. So the horse is 10 now. And actually, I remember seeing him jump this horse here last year. Had a rail or 2 down, looked really promising, but they've been building up that consistency. As I said, you know, a great win last week here on this very stage. The horse knows the arena, knows the surface. And to be fair, they all jump quite well off this surface, don't they? Really pinging off the floor. What? A little rattle through there. Oh, first part comes down. And then comes down on that back bar, so sits on 8 at the moment. I think this is a partnership we might just possibly see here in the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup Puebla on Saturday. As I said, he's really been building up and working on the consistency with this one. Today, though, the score's going to be 12 faults, 83.79 and 12 there for Bernardo. And El Chile, if you have just joined us, you haven't missed too much. Couple gone so far. Sunflower's Paradise. It doesn't say where he or she's watching from, but it says just come back from the barn. Rodent Razor says, hi, Adam. Well, hello there. Again, if you are watching on YouTube or you're watching on Facebook, get involved with the conversation. Let me know where you're watching from, and if you've got any questions as well, just pop them in that comments box below. It'll be great to hear from you, and great to have your company as we continue forwards here in this first round of competition. Plenty more still to come, though, and Nicholas Pizarro is next. Chaco S, Airman PS, 10-year-old gelding by Chaco Blue. You can see Nico just taking his time, getting the horse nice and relaxed, waiting for everything to be as it should be. And then he'll get round to executing his plan here. But Nico's a rider that, you know, we all know, not just here in Mexico, not just in North America, over in Europe as well. He's an Olympian that's been to the Pan American Games, he's been to the World Championships. And this 10-year-old gelding, I mean, I mentioned it's, you know, by Chaco Blue. It's out of a Conair mare. It's got some great lines in there. And Nico started jumping this horse last March, and Spent quite a bit of time in Europe over the summer. Jumped some nice clears at Dublin, placed at Valkenswaard. Then ended last year at Thermal in California, placed there. And then last week started his 2024 campaign here in Puebla. Finished 5th in one of the opening competitions and then just had a rail in the Grand Prix. I think this horse is one that will be Nico's type. It's got plenty of blood, very gymnastic, quite a modern type. It looks like one of these horses that kind of gives you a good feeling in your hand. It's almost taking you to the fence. It looks like it's got a bit of adjustability as well. You know, Nico can take that check, the horse is listening, it comes back to him, and he can relax his hand and let the horse move forward. Making a nice job out there. This is looking good so far. I don't want to jinx him, but he's doing a great job out there. Ah, never fails. Commentator's curse. Who knows, maybe a fast 4-fault round could just pick up some money in this competition. We'll wait and see. 80.53, finishes up on a total of 4 there. Nicolas Pizarro, Chaco S Airman PS for Mexico, 80.53, and finishing up on the 4 faults. But look how much scope that horse has. Obviously he had that fence down, but you know, he had so much scope around there. USA is where we're going to be heading next. That's to say good afternoon to Misty Cassar, 14-year-old gelding by Montender, out of a Cornet Obolensky mare. This is My Lord Cornet. Misty's a rider we've seen at World Cup finals about 20 years ago, and then this is the horse that got her back there a couple of years back. I think so much of this horse. And again, I'd imagine this is a pair we'll see in the World Cup on Saturday. Misty was based in the west coast of the USA forever, but now basing herself out of Mexico. Having an early rail today, but put in a stellar performance last week. Finished top 10 in the Grand Prix. This horse is known as Tom in the barn, and it's quite a unique ride, but it's one that Misty gets on with really well. Misty took over the reins from Harley Brown about 4 years ago. You see, he really jumped big coming into that line, and then Misty tried to get everything contained again. So sits on 8 at the moment. You see that blood just really having to be contained, but Misty does a good job down to the final fence, but because she was having to take a little bit of checks here and a little bit of checks there, it has caught up with her. So 8 jumping one time, total of 9 and 85.30. Hi to Arena, who's just joined us, watching on YouTube from Slovenia, and Emilia, I think that's how you say your name, sorry if it's not, is watching from Germany. Great to have you with us. Over on Facebook, Estella Wallace watching this in the pub in the UK. I left the UK, I left Manchester yesterday, flew to London, through to LA, flew to here. I'm going to go to bed after this class, very tired. Hi to Tassa from Greece. Karen's watching in Geneva. Alison's in rainy Brooklyn. And Nico Gamboa is next. NKH Mr. Darcy. Again, I would never want to jinx them, but this partnership, you know, if you were going to highlight those at a high probability of jumping clear, this would definitely be a partnership on that list. They're very competitive. I remember seeing them at Pin Oak last year. He won 3 of the Grand Prix during the circuit. You know, when he says, you know, he sits on this horse and he can feel the horse knows exactly what his job is, where to put his feet. The speed takes care of itself. And if they get to the jump off, this will definitely be one to watch. We've got to remember, this is a horse he took to the Pan American Games last year, 2nd in the World Cup qualifier in Fort Worth in Texas. you know, back in December, about a month ago. Horse has had a little bit of time off since then. This is Nico bringing him back out. Nico does a good job. He's 23 years of age, but, you know, so mature for his years in the saddle. Oh, Nico. That's got a few of them out, actually, hasn't it? Comes at you off the corner quite quickly, that Oxern. That was a shame because, you know, wasn't that a nice round? Finishes up on 4 faults, 79.31 there for Nico Gamboa, NKH Mr. Darcy representing Colombia. I could almost guarantee that'll be a partnership we'll see in the World Cup here on Saturday, so definitely keep an eye out for them. Javi says my favourite rider is Nico Pizarro. Oh, I've seen him already. He might have another horse. I'll have a look at that start list for you, Pavi, in a second. Hi to Hannah Butler, who's watching on Facebook Live from Scotland. That's where I'm from. My parents still live up there, so I try and get up as much as I can. Let's get Wilder Francisco Rodriguez underway with Highway S now. This is a family with, you know, deep equestrian history. His dad coached the country's Olympic eventing team. The whole family's still involved in Guatemala, running a riding school there. This is a horse by Clearway. This is a horse he took to the Pan American Games. He was 8th in the Grand Prix here last week. Placed in some other competitions as well. Since he was at the Pan Ams, this horse had a little bit of time off, a little bit of a rest. And these competitions over last week and this week is the first time we've seen him bring the horse out internationally since then. And of course the big question is, how many clears are we going to end up with? What do you think? I would imagine we're going to see maybe 7 or 8. You know, the combinations have certainly got time, 85 seconds time allowed in this one. But it's technical enough, this. You know, it's big, it's meaty. Plenty of questions. Some of them come at you quite quickly. Oh, that's got to be heartbreaking. To be clear all the way around. So close to home. And then one single fence comes down. Wilder will finish on the 4, 84.18. So at the moment, 3 tied at the top on 4 faults. But we're going to see some clears, aren't we? I would imagine so. Quick reminder, if you are watching on Facebook or YouTube, you can get involved with the conversation. Let me know where you're watching from. If you've got any questions, pop them in the comments box below. You can also send me a message on Instagram. Just search for Adam Cromarty. I'll keep an eye on those as we continue on through this first round. And Antonio Maura and Chuy Lucia is next. Lucia stud doing such a great job here in Mexico, breeding and producing a lot of nice horses. And what a lot of experience this rider brings forward. From the Olympics, to the World, to the Pan Americans. Antonio's been showing this horse for about a year and a half. You know, he was 2nd in a 2-star in Guadalajara last summer, 6th in the 2-star at Monterrey last November. Another one that was here last week. We talk a lot about adjustability, and you can see that's definitely here with this horse. Making a little bit of a correction there. I thought he got away with that for a second. Oh, and that one comes down. It's a bit like a boulder rolling down a hill, that line. You know, it's very hard to stop that energy that gets carried forward. Once it's there, it's there. There's not really a lot you can do. Looks like that last one might come down as well. 84.41. It's 12 on the board today for Antonio Maurer. Galicia finishes up on that 12-fault score. Hi to Alice Barrow, who's watching in New Zealand. She's watching on Facebook Live. Rodent Razor says, how warm is it there? Well, I just did an Instagram story, so I know exactly how warm it is because I put the temperature on it. It was 21 degrees Celsius. I couldn't work it out in Fahrenheit for you, I'm afraid. I'm a Celsius guy. But it's warm. It's sunny, blue skies, it's warm. Hi to Zia, who's watching on YouTube in California. But let's concentrate on this partnership. Luis Gerardo Castaneda. Santa Rosa Quality Boy with us now, the 11-year-old. Nice gelding, this one. So many great Santa Rosa horses coming from Mexico. Santa Rosa horse called Apollo actually just won the Grand Prix at Desert Horse Park last weekend. So keep an eye on those Santa Rosa horses. Just having to keep everything contained today. He's been bringing this horse along for about a year and a half now. I saw Lewis with a horse at Spruce Meadows over the summertime. He was placed in the 2-star there. It wasn't with this horse actually, it was on one called Quality Boy when I saw him there. So this horse was second in the 2-star in Guadalajara last year. You just having to take little checks here and there and just getting there with a little bit too much energy at times. And that comes back to the adjustability that we were talking about earlier. You want that feeling that when you get your leg on, the horse gives you that impulsion, but as soon as you take a check on the rein, it can kind of shut down a little bit. You can see him trying to take a check, but the horse just kept kind of bounding forward there. And when you have to keep taking little checks and adjusting, it does add up and the time faults start to feature. So 19 total, 87.10, time allowed 85 seconds here. Heads down into 8th place at this early stage here in the first round. Hi to Lexi Luker, who's watching from work in California. Michael's in Denmark with us as well. Gavin Scripted says, can I wish his mother Kerry better, who's in hospital and recovering? Oh, I hope she's okay, Gavin. I hope she gets well. And I'm glad she can still enjoy the sport from hospital. It's a great thing about live stream. You can kind of watch anywhere, can't you? It's great to have so many people almost around the world. And people have converted. I told you it was 21 degrees Celsius. Ava and Rodent Razor have been on the case. Somewhere between 69 and 70 Fahrenheit here, which is kind of perfect conditions. Luis Alejandro Plasencia in beautiful red now, 15-year-old. This one by Casal. This is another man that I think we'll see in the World Cup here on Saturday. He won the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup when it visited Guadalajara in 2018. And he likes that venue. He was second in a speed competition there just back in September. Jumped the 2-star here last week. Would have been a nice setup for this week for sure. He was 4th last week. This is a nice modern type. Quite short coupled. Got the energy. So many have done that, haven't they? That angle looked like he just popped in a bit of a short one there. Didn't quite manage to stretch out and get that back bar. $83.51. We could easily have had 5 or 6 clears by now. There's been some real hard luck in there today. But Luis Alejandro Plasencia will finish on the 4, $83.51. And although it actually says on that graphic he heads into 3rd place, strictly speaking, at the moment, that is not true. He might be the 3rd fastest, of the 4 fault rounds we've seen, but we don't have a clear yet. So we've got 4 tied on 4, and that means they're all tied equal first at this stage. They would go to a jump off if we don't see a clear. I don't think that will be the case though. Patricio Pascal coming next. Chakalu PS from Mexico. Patricio won the Akita Drilling winning round at Spruce Meadows with this horse during the summertime of 23. On the 5-star Nations Welcome in Thunderbird in June. That was Chakalu's first 150 win. Although this horse is a 10-year-old now, Patricio started riding him during his 7-year-old year, and he's really worked hard, to build up the confidence. And he's just moving him up and progressing on to real kind of big top drawer competition now. He's been really patient, but he's come on so well. He really covers the ground, this horse. Patricio's another Olympian. Scarlett on YouTube says this is her new favourite. She's going to steal this one. Living and thriving on YouTube, mentioning that Longines FEI. How it's catching everybody. But I think it's just the position that it's at. It comes at you quite quickly off the corner. A couple of them maybe just anticipating that left-handed turn as well. Then on screen it looks like you've got all the time in the world, but actually, when you get out the corner, it's suddenly there. 82.18, total of 8 faults there for Patricio Pascal and Chakalu. But, I've seen that horse jump some amazing rounds at Spruce Meadows, and that wasn't a bad round by any stretch of the imagination. It was good. Just had a couple of unlucky rails in there today. Izzy and Natalia said, how old are the horses usually? They can vary. You might see an 8-year-old in this. Normally you'd see them about their 9-year-old year, starting to be really competitive at this level. And then they just keep on going. It's one of the good things about our sport. The horses have such good longevity. They're really looked after well, and they can compete all the way up into their 20s. But thank you, Izzy and Natalie, for that question. And if you've got a question you want to ask, stick it in the comments box below. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, or you can drop me a message on Instagram, just search for Adam Cromarty on there. John Perez standing by though. He's going to be underway next with the 11-year-old. This is Aslan. Very consistent partnership. He's a great rider. We've seen him at World Cup finals in Leipzig. He's done the Pan American Games on 3 occasions. I think it was 23, 2011. If I remember, I think 2006. Another one I saw at Spruce Meadows in the autumn. Had quite a few top 10 finishes in the 2-star divisions there. But they really are consistent. And I think that's one of the things in our sport that's just so important. It's better to finish 2nd, 3rd, 4th every single week than have a win once in a blue moon. That consistency is so key, whether it's for the prize money, whether it's for world ranking points, or just for your own results. John. See the horse just getting up on its blood a little bit in that corner. The sport here in Mexico just continues to build. The amount of riders that are attracting. To have Jessica Mendoza here for Great Britain. Misty Cassar now basing herself down here, having moved from the West Coast. There's a lot of competition to enjoy. But today, John Perez finishes on the 4. Heads up into equal first. But plenty to see. It's only a matter of time till we start seeing some clears. Leva's watching from Northampton in the UK. Noah's watching from Liverpool. I stay in Southport, which is probably about half an hour from Liverpool. I'm so glad to be here, Noah, because it's sunny and it's warm. And when I left Southport, it was cold and it was so windy. Claudia Michel on track now. Comerge de Jose for Mexico. 12-year-old horse. This one had been showing with Jonathan Chabrol in France all the way through to the summer of last year. Then came over to Mexico in the fall for Claudia. Another one that was here last week, finished 5th in the 142-star competition. We've seen them in some speed competitions as well, so could be quite a quick one if we get through to the jump-off. Oh. Did she get away with that? I think she might have. No faults. Ah, but she didn't get away with that. That was a shame because we heard her really rattle on that committed related line there. And that just flattens out slightly coming down that line. Finishes up on a total of 8, 81.68 and 8 there for Claudia. So heads down into 6th place at the moment. That's been the fence to watch, isn't it, so far? That Oxer on that short side on the corner there. Jess Mendoza's next. ICAP CLZ represents Great Britain. This is a horse we saw in Fort Worth, Texas in December. Since then, the horse has had a little bit of a rest, but Jess has been shown her other horses in Wellington to start the season. This is such a top horse. 2nd in the World Cup in Toronto. And she had a great event there. It's one of my favourites on the indoor circuit for sure. And she was 2nd in the McKee Family International Challenge, 10th in the Big Ben in Toronto. Then, as I mentioned, went into that World Cup and finished 2nd. Then went to Fort Worth, had a 3rd, 6th and 7th at that event. She was 4th in the 4-star welcome at Kentucky. I mean, what a year. Jess was the reserve in the Olympics at Rio. She's been one that's been campaigning, from the sort of ponies for her country. I remember her jumping the 138 ponies, the UK and European circuit. It's that fence again. If it wasn't for that fence, we'd have had a jump off by now. You're just catching that back rail, aren't they? Hi to Diane, who says she's enjoying watching the jumping from Port Elizabeth in South Africa. if my geography was better, I'd try and work out who's the furthest away. We've had a few from Great Britain, we've had people from Europe, South Africa, New Zealand, Australia, the US. That's a long way home, having that first fence there. Arturo Parada Vallejo on track now with Picot, the 13-year-old gelding. Definitely not off to the start he was hoping for today. Alice Barrow was asking, what's the temperature there at the moment? 21 degrees Celsius. We mentioned this a little bit earlier, perhaps you've just joined, Alice, and someone worked out for me. It's about 69 or 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Perfect conditions, nice and sunny, nice and warm, but not too hot for the horses. Eva's saying with these greys how difficult they are to keep clean, and it's a lot of purple shampoo. Scarlett's agreeing with her on the YouTube chat. And I think, you know, Arturo's experienced rider that's going to take a lot out of this round. It's been a good fact-finding mission. Certainly not been the afternoon he planned. Probably pick up a time fault as well. Yeah, 86.04 with jumping and time faults. Total of 26 for Arturo Parada Vallejo of Mexico with Picot. 14 combinations gone so far. About 30 left to come here in the first round. Huge thank you once again to everyone that's joining in, whether you're watching on Facebook, whether you're watching on YouTube, or of course around the world on FEI TV, powered by Clip My Horse. And Bruno Cavallero Rebelo is next, a 12-year-old by Verdi, Herbath B for Brazil. This is a horse that we've seen Rodrigo Lambri ride in the past, but Bruno took over the reins and started showing him in March of last year. Another one that was here last week in the 2 stars. Placed in Lerma back in November, and Querétaro as well in their speed competition. And you know, if you can just stay on the 4 faults and come home with quite a fast time, you could pick up some prize money in this one today. And don't forget, this is a great setup for the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup on Saturday. There's 3 rings at this event, so there's kind of competition for everybody. But I think, you know, the horses that are getting set up for Saturday will probably have a day off tomorrow and then come in here for the World Cup. 84.97. Going to be the steadiest of the 4 fault rounds we've seen so far. Again, the rank you see on your screen, it is showing you where they would sit based on the 4 faults and their time, the way that it works. So because we don't have a clear, all those on 4 faults are actually equal first at the moment. And if we didn't see a clear, then they would end up jumping off. But again, I don't think we're going to be in that situation. You know, with what, 29 left to come. Living and Thriving says jump-off's looking unlikely. Well, at the moment, it would be very likely we'd have 7 on 4 faults going there. But I still think we're going to see, what, 7 or 8 clears. But hey, I could be changing my mind as we move through. Manuel Gonzalez de Frey with us now with a 17-year-old, Orntessa van der Lervec. There by Carland. Manuel's another Olympian. Also a gold medalist in the 2017 Continental Games in Guatemala with this horse. Underneath you, like there, you could feel the horse being quite strong to the last. He took a check, kept the energy contained, and it's job done. There's our first clear. 79 seconds, clear all the way. Manuel Gonzalez de Frey for Mexico, one for the home nation, giving us that first clear here. So now we've got the one clear. It's game on. We need another to guarantee us a jump off. And now we can look at the times for those 4 fault rounds, because that's what's going to be the decider for the best of the rest. So Nico Gamboa, the fastest of our 4 fault rounds, in second. Nicolas Pizarro in third. Jess Mendoza in fourth. John Perez in fifth. So that's our fast 4 faulters and how they land at the minute. Francisco Pascual Vega coming forward next with a 14-year-old stallion by Diamond de Semi. This is called Dominant 2000Z. He's been a great horse for Francisco now for about 3 years. You know, all the way through the young rider competitions and up to 4-star level. 7th last week in the Grand Prix. Went to the North American Youth Championships in Traverse City last year with this horse. Finished 5th individually. We've seen him in the big 160 Grand Prix at Spruce Meadows in Canada last June. They've just done so much together. The horse comes with experience and they've really got to know each other so well over the years. See him really use that upper body down there. Sets up and protects that vertical. Back bar, and then really has to hustle to get down through here. Now what can he do to come back into this oxer? Yeah, good correction there, wasn't it? Fastest 4 fault round, we've got 79.31. Not going to be that fast. Oh, just fights a little bit down to the plank. Let's have a look. 82.51. Going to head into 4th place. Francisco Pascual Vega and Dominant 2000Z. 1 rail, 82.51. Finishes up on the 4 faults. Hi to Vera Thompson, who's watching on Facebook Live. Heather Piat Fisher says, hey Adam. Hey Heather, good to have you watching. Hi to Max, who's watching in the USA. Hey to Scarlett as well, getting involved with the conversation on YouTube. And if you are watching, do get involved with the chat. Let me know where you're watching from. If you get any questions, any comments, stick them in that box, and we'll get Andre Gonzalez de Frey underway. Can't resist. This is rider. 12-year-old gelding, this one, by Kornat Obolensky. Last week's Grand Prix winner here in Puebla. So that should certainly give them some confidence as they come in. He's been riding this one for about 4 years now. They know each other very well. They've had lots of success internationally, Mexico and in Canada. Andre actually used to have the ride of Horntessa van der Lerweg, his brother Manuel's horse that we saw a couple of rounds ago. He was riding that horse back in about 2015. It's great to have that kind of family connection that you can kind of ask advice, you can compare notes. Real committed line, that one. And 79.31, fastest 4 we've seen. He's not going to be too far away from that. 80.81, going to go to 4th place. Andre Gonzalez de Frey, and can't resist for Mexico heading into 4th place. Hi to Emma, who's just joined us watching on Facebook from New Zealand. That's going to be one of the furthest away from us here in Mexico. Hey to Del Haywood, he's watching in Amarillo, Texas. Do you like a little trip to Texas? I was in Fort Worth for the World Cup there in December. I'll be going to a place called Katy for Pin Oak in the springtime. Fian says, watching from the Netherlands, are there any Dutch riders? There aren't any Dutch riders. We've got so many nations here. I think more than ever with Great Britain here, the US, Brazil, Mexico, Argentina, the list goes on, but no one from the Netherlands. Labardo Arturo Flores is on course now. Another one for the home team here. This is My Lucia, the 17-year-old gelding by Montebello Lucia out of a Quick Star mare. Horse he's been riding for about 3 years, had an 8th place finish in an opening competition during the Major League event in Monterey back in November. Some other placings during the year as well, but this horse is 17 years of age, still really loving life, loving the job. I know someone earlier on was asking what age these horses are, and we've seen some young ones that are coming through, starting to get that experience. You know, the 8-year-olds, the 9-year-olds, and then you've got the kind of 17-year-olds and older. You can see they still really have so much enthusiasm for the job. Oh, that was lucky. We know so many others in the competition that have done just that and haven't been as lucky. Catches up with them there. You'll have to get those reins back, get organised for this tiny plank. 87.63, we're over the time of 85 seconds, so it's going to be 15 in total there for Leobardo, representing Mexico, My Lucia. A lot of people on the YouTube chat commenting, you know, how many nice horses there are and the ones that they want to steal. And over the past few years, you know, we've really seen Mexico add to the string of horses that they've got available. A lot of talent coming up through the grades as well. Hi to Karen, who's watching in New York and has just sent me a message on Instagram. Don't forget you can do that as well. Just search for Adam Cromarty. Find me on Instagram. You can send me a message on there. I'll keep an eye on my phone as we progress forward through this first round. Where we're still looking for that second clear to guarantee us a jump off here. Geronimo Jimenez Herrera now, the 12-year-old gelding by Chaco Blue, Chalawino PS. Again, placing here last week. Rodrigo Lambri used to have the ride on this horse, and then Geronimo took over the ride about a year ago. Very quickly had quite a few top 10 finishes. 4th in the 3-Star Classic in San Miguel in October. He's using double reins today, just give him a little bit more control. The idea with the double reins is you control those reins independently. using his voice, using the reins, but still occasionally just not quite listening. Going to finish up on 10 today. 86.23 for Geronimo Jimenez Herrera, representing Argentina. Another thing to mention as well, if you are watching on Facebook Live, remember, hit that share button, tag your friends. If you're a member of any equestrian groups, please do share it on there as well. Let them know that they can enjoy all the action from here in Puebla, Mexico. Joycelyn's just joined us on the YouTube chat, saying hi, everyone. Marge says, I'm doing well, the snow is melting. Nicolas Pizarro back with us, Mamacita for Mexico. Again, we saw him a little bit earlier. He's one of the most experienced athletes that you'll find. Been to the Olympic Games, been to the Pan American Games in Chile. Currently ranked 29th in the Longines rankings. And it's not just, you know, in this part of the world. We see him jump over in Europe. End of the year in the west coast of the USA at Desert Horse Park. Picked up a top 6 finish there with this horse. It's currently the second fastest four-fault round with his first ride. Going to be good if he could jump clear and guarantee us a jump. Ah! Nico, what a shame. He's going to finish with a good time, 81.63. Where's that going to head? Probably about 5th place. Yeah, into 5th there for Nico. Nicolas Pizarro and Mamacita heading into 5th. Still just the one clear at this stage. If you have just joined us, it's Adam Cromarty here, live from Puebla in Mexico. We've got so much sport still to enjoy as the weekend continues. There's another YouTube Facebook competition here on Sunday. A couple of people are asking if there's anything to watch tomorrow on YouTube or Facebook. Not on there. Clip My Horse, of course, though, will have all the competition for you to enjoy. Jose Antonio Chedraui and Concord getting underway here for Mexico. And if anyone wants to follow along, you know, to see the live scoring, to see the leaderboard, to see what's on and at what time, if you go to longinetiming.com, Longines, and remember it does have an S on the end, you just don't pronounce it, but when you're writing it, Longines at timing.com. Search obviously for this event in Puebla, then pick the day you want to see. It gives you the timetable, it's got live scoring on there, the start list, results, course plans, all that good stuff is available, longinetiming.com. Jose's a rider we see all over the place with a different horse. He was on Nations Cup duty in Brussels in August for the team, finished in 2nd. But while he was on that European tour, he also showed in Saint-Tropez and Dublin. And this is the newer horse for him. Started competing in last November. Came over from the Netherlands in about 2020. Javier Fernandez was the previous rider. He had some wins at 2-star level in Guadalajara over the summertime. This is another Olympian. Again, if I search the memory bank, I think it was probably 96 in Atlanta, and then it's a little bit later, I think 2008 in Beijing. There's been so many unlucky rails today. And yeah, there's been a couple of fences, obviously, that have been the big ones, but other than that, the rails have been a little bit spread around. He's going to finish up on 4 faults. Just having a look at that time, a little bit steadier, pushes him down into 10th place, into 10th. Well, you can see our ring crew are just lifting out the jump material. We're going to do a little bit of work on the surface, but this is how things look at the moment. You can see our only clear, Manuel Gonzalez Dufresne, sitting at the top as our only clear. And then the best of the rest, the fast 4 fault rounds, making up that leaderboard. Remember, 12 cash awards in any FEI competition, so it's that clear. Then we look to our 4 fault rounds. All the 4s are in the money at the moment. There's been a couple of heartbreaks so far during the first round. We have reached that halfway stage. Don't go anywhere though. The ring crew here really quick, and then we'll be back underway with the second half of the first round, and then a jump off against the clock. Again, do keep those questions coming in on YouTube and Facebook if you've got any comments, anything you want to know about the show, or if you just want to say hello and let us know where you're watching from, you can get involved and do that as well. It's great to have some people from watching around the world. But yeah, do stay with us as we get ready to get back underway here in just a couple of moments' time. Great chance if you want to ask a question, though. Feel free, ask away. We have got time to fill whilst you know, we're just getting that track ready. Hi to Jean, who says hello. Jose is watching in Uruguay. Barner says, beautiful day for a show. Watching in Quebec, Canada, where it's freezing rain. I just left the UK yesterday, and I really feel your pain. It probably wasn't quite as cold, but it was so windy and wet, and it's so nice to be here in the sunshine. Cesar is looking forward to seeing Nico Gamboa, who we saw a little bit earlier. Jan's watching in France. John's in Austria. Alison in Canada. Vibka, I hope I got that right, is watching in Norway. Mina from Sweden. And Kim, who's watching in Mexico. This is a lovely part of Mexico we're in. It's called Puebla. There's actually an active volcano, which you can see from the kind of VIP hospitality side looking out. So keep an eye. We'll see if we notice it. There's a little bit of smoke coming out. And yesterday it was quite active, and you know, people down in Puebla were noticing ash on their cars. But it's active every time we're here, and it's a great talking point. And I know people that come here for the first time are always a little bit surprised. But Puebla's got a lot to offer. And this is a real nice venue, and I think that's why we're starting to see more and more nations come over. And people like Jessica Mendoza from Great Britain's here, Misty Cassar, now based in Mexico. Anisha Malik says, are the jumps all maxed out on this course? It's 1.50 m, and the course designer's got a little bit of a tolerance as well, so he could go, you know, maybe one higher. And yeah, pretty much everything, it would be about 1.50 m around this course. Now maybe there's a few at 147, 148. But you know, we've got to remember that this is a World Cup event. It's one that's brought some great riders. Yeah, there are some, you know, younger or less experienced horses, but this is a 4-star international. So it's really got to be up at that specification. And you know, I think if you talk to the riders, yes, they would want to go clear, but they would much rather have, you know, a smaller number of clears in the jump off rather than having to, you know, turn it into a mad old gallop round. So Marina Azevedo, our course designer, who I mentioned earlier as well, kudos to her. She's the only female level 4, so Olympic level course designer in the world. She built here last year as well. I think she's set a really good test. You know, it's one that's making these athletes think. You've really got to plan your lines. There's a lot out there that's related. MD's on YouTube saying should be doing our first official competition, a dressage derby next month. Haven't showed since 2017. Well, good luck, MD, and let us know how you got on. Marge says she used to pleasure drive. Peter Doubleday was the announcer. He did Washington and many other shows. Do you know if he's still at it? He definitely is still at it. I worked with Peter at the Royal Winter Fair in Toronto. I know he's maybe not doing quite as much as he once did because, you know, he was at it every single week. So he's maybe cut down a little bit, but yeah, still very active. He'll be down in Wellington, I would imagine, at the moment at the Winter Equestrian Festival. Someone asking how many clears. We're still just on 1 clear at the moment. Remember, to guarantee a jump off for us now, we do need that second clear. That's how these things work. Final bit of water and work going on out in that arena, and then we'll be back underway here for you. A quick reminder, do hit that share button. Let people know that they can get involved with the conversation. Can get involved and watch the action. Today in Forevermore says, greetings from the east coast of the USA. Good to have you with us. And remember, tomorrow there's going to be more sports to enjoy in Clip My Horse. Then on Saturday, it's the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup Puebla. That one's only available on FEI TV and Clip My Horse. But the highlights will be available on TV pretty much all over the world. So keep an eye out on your local listings. It's going to be on a sports channel near you for sure. And it's probably going to be on early next week. So keep an eye on your local listings for that one. And then on Sunday, we're back here. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook on Sunday. I won't tell you the times because obviously you're all in different time zones. But again, head along to longinetiming.com. You can find the start list, result lists, the course plans, the live scoring, and of course the timetable as well. And if you are watching on Clip My Horse, we're not excluding you. You can get involved with the conversation. If you search for Adam Cromarty on Instagram, it's CROMARTY. Find me on there, drop me a message. And I'll be posting some pictures and stuff from around the showground as well on Instagram. So feel free to follow me on there. Keep an eye, and over the next day or two, when I'm out and about, anytime I see something that's interesting, I'll stick a little picture on Instagram. Hi to Andrea McCulloch, who says, happy Burns night from the UK. Thanks, Andrea. You know, being from Scotland, it's always something you remember. January 25th. Normally there'd be a haggis involved. A little bit of Robert Burns, or Rabbie Burns as we call him in Scotland. When I woke up this morning, well, I say woke up, I was travelling since yesterday to get here, about 26 hours it took. So when I woke up on the plane this morning, I had a message from my parents back home with a little Burns poem. So yeah, happy Burns Day to anyone from Scotland or from the UK, or you know, people with Scottish heritage around the world that do celebrate Burns Night. Jocelyn says, what are they spraying on the ground? Just water, nothing exciting. It's not gin or vodka or anything like that. It's just pure water, and it's just to, you know, keep the surface perfect. They want to try and get the surface as close to, you know, grass as you can be. That's the real aim of these artificial surfaces. You know, horses are designed really to jump off grass, so you're trying to replicate that, but in a way that drains easy, and that the horses can jump off, whether it's, you know, cold and freezing or hot and sunny or rainy or whatever, and that you can jump volume on it. You know, we're jumping, you know, 44 in this. Sometimes we're jumping over 100 in competition, so it needs to be a surface that can really sort of withstand that. Got our next one just making their final preparations in the warm-up. And then we are going to be back underway here. Thanks again to everyone who's sticking with us during the break. Do grab a quick drink if you need to. Alice said, how many classes are going to be live on Facebook today? Just this one, Alice. I'm sorry, it's just this one. You can have too much of a good thing. But we will be back live on Facebook on Sunday. Again, don't want to tell you the times. You're all on different time zones. Longines timing, though, you will find the sort of full listings on there. Catherine's watching in Paris on Facebook Live. Good to have you with us, Catherine. Derek Burke watching in Ireland. Bet it's really hot and sunny in Ireland, Derek, isn't it? Isn't it? Yeah. Karen's watching in Canada. Bet it's snowing. Bet it's snowing in Canada. Got lots of friends in Calgary where I spend the summer at Spruce Meadows, and some of the pictures they put up of feet and feet of snow and just how cold it is. Right, getting back underway shortly. Remember, if you have just joined us, we're sitting on one single clear at the moment. There's 22 left to go here in this first round. And then hopefully a jump off against the clock. Will we have a jump off? You're going to have to stay with us and find out. Do not go anywhere. So many of these guys have come uber close to jumping clear. I mentioned that kind of active volcano that is in the background of the ring. Obviously you can't see it from this camera angle, but they are very nice trees. But I've just posted a picture on my Instagram story of the arena from the other direction, and you can see that volcano on there. So again, if you want to search for Adam Cromarty on Instagram, have a look at my story. You will find that picture on there. Quick shout out to our arena crew though, they do an amazing job. And they are just making those final preparations to get us back underway here. Hi to Giancarlo who says hello. Jose Cor said something. I can read Uruguay. I'm going to try the C translation button on Facebook to see if it will work here. Bernard says, beautiful day for a show. Good to have you watching. He also says, is there any Canadian competitors this weekend? There's not. No. Got loads of nations here. From Great Britain to the US, Argentina, Dominican Republic, Mexico, Guatemala, Colombia. Loads of nations. Hi to Shannon Kelly watching from Northern Ireland. Maria's just joined us watching in Poland. Jose, your message has just been translated to say he's watching in, I think it's Montevideo in Uruguay, and it's 30 degrees and sunny there. I'm glad you've got good weather as well. The old grey mare's just tuned in on YouTube. She says, better late than never. Don't worry, we'll catch you up. We've seen half of the first round. We've only got one clear at the moment, and we're just about to get underway. Carla Lima's watching in Portugal. It'll be starting to get warm there, I would think. Just hear tractors, so that's a good sign. It sounds like they're heading on out there. Sounds like the tractor's gone. Sounds like we're just about to get underway. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can tag your friends in, share us to any of your equestrian groups. Let them all know that they can enjoy the action from Puebla in Mexico. Horsepower My Life says, Adam, please can you tell us how you're called on Instagram? Yeah, it's just my name. Just search Adam Cromarty. You'll see the blue tick, and that's me. I think it's the same picture as I've just commented with on YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube. So yeah, just Adam Cromarty. It's C-R-O-M-A-R-T-Y. But the other riders are down there. They're in the warm-up. It's not a massive long walk from the warm-up here, actually. It's really convenient. You do your warm-up. It's a quick wander up the hill, and then you're in the arena. The gate goes up, and in you come. There's always a good atmosphere here, and I have to say, you know, even if you're a foreign rider coming here, they're still cheering you on. It doesn't matter if you're for the home nation or not. Hopefully we're going to see a horse on screen any second. Heard the bell in the background, so that's normally a good sign, isn't it? Going to be getting back underway here. Got a nice view of the city. Just as we saw Jose Madriga Gonzalez come forward with the 12-year-olds, Emerson Van der Daal, for the home nation of Mexico. Is he going to be that second clear that will give us a jump off? We shall wait and see. So many have been clear in the first half and then come forwards to the second half, and this is one that Jose's had for about a year now. They've placed here on this stage in the past. Competing here last weekend, so it's a good setup for this one. We've got to remember as well, you know, that's that line again, isn't it? There are 3 rings at this event, so it's a good one. You can bring your international horse, you can bring your national horse, so you've got a young horse. There's a smaller ring as well out the back, so there's three different rings that run all day long here. It's a great facility. The hospitality here is second to none. Well, he's going to go into our big pile of unlucky 4-fault rounds today. But he's a little bit slow as well, 88.59. We could see him having to try and contain that energy all the way round, and that's added up. He's got 4 jumping and 4 times, so Jose leaves us on a total of 8. Ali says it's the mountain where we can see the volcano. Yeah, it's kind of, yeah. It's just, I'm going to say it's in the distance, but it's actually quite close. And you can see a little kind of puff of smoke above it. But it is from the sort of opposite way that we look most of the time when we're watching the horses jump in the ring here on screen. Again, if you can find me on Instagram, I have just put a picture up on my story if you want to take a quick look at that in the distance. Right, let's get Antonio Maurer underway. Elisa BJX, 12-year-olds. Another rider with a ton of experience. This is one we've seen a lot here in Mexico with a variety of riders. And actually, most recently, we saw him with Matt Sampson on board. He's a British rider. They competed together at places like Spruce Meadows, Thunderbird. He jumped the horse in Spain. They had 7 FEI wins in their season together. Antonio just pulls an early rail today. Antonio had shown the horse in 22 and is now taken over the reins again. Testing the old memory banks again. I think it was Sydney, I think. He was at the Olympic Games. It's nice to have so many Olympians in the field here. And it's just thinking about that time 79.31 fastest of the fours. It's not going to be that quick though, is he? Oh, and then just rattles that rail. So sits on 8 at the moment. Oh, thought we'd lost him, but I think he's actually going to give a signal and say, you know what, this is such a good horse. I know this horse really well. He doesn't need the experience in the ring and no amount of contention now, because on 4 faults, he knew he was in with a shot for some money. As soon as you get to 8 faults, you know, it's really game over. It becomes academic today. So he does retire Antonio Maura there. Very nice horse though. Amelia Strawberry Tiger, it's a great YouTube name, says she loves chestnuts. We've seen loads of nice chestnuts today. But this is Nico Gamboa. I know someone on, I think it was Facebook earlier, was shouting out for Nico. So you now get a chance to watch him go again. This time it's NKH Vittorio S that Nico Gamboa rides for Colombia. This is his second one in the competition. His previous horse was the one that we saw him ride at the Pan American Games. But this one he just started showing in Las Vegas towards the end of, you know, the year in November, and then took him to Fort Worth in December. Just missed out on a win actually at Fort Worth, finished second with this horse. As well, just to contain that energy down to that skinny, delicate fence. Keeping them in a nice rhythm all the way around. Now, Nico's 23 years of age, but so talented. Great little horseman. Say little, I think he's taller than me. Come on, do we have a jump off here? Yes, we do. 84.36, safely through. Guarantees a jump off for us in this one. Nico Gamboa for Colombia, NKH Vittorio S. So now 2 clears and we are off to the races a little bit later. That jump off is guaranteed. Luis Alejandro Plasencia and Jumpstar standing by, about to get underway. This is Luis's second ride in the competition. Showed him here last week. He was 6 in the meter 40. Saw him in Guadalajara last summer, 2nd in the 2-star welcome. I saw him at Spruce Meadows though, back in June. He was in the 2-star competition there and had a win. It's one he's been riding for about 2 years now. We've shown together lots in Canada, lots in Mexico. It's by Vidial's the Rocco Blue out of a numero uno mare. Of course, a big shout out to all the grooms as well, because they just do such a great job. You know, these horses are pretty immaculate when they're turned out, and to keep a grey looking this good, anyone that's ever had a grey knows how difficult that is. So we know we've got a jump off at the moment. But is he going to feature? He's another very competitive rider against the clock, so he'd be one to watch if we can get him through. But this is a line that's certainly caught a couple. He gives the middle bit a rattle, recovers nicely. Now he's got to try and really protect this oxer. Nicely done. Right, so close. Come on, just jump this plank. Watch the time. It's going to be okay though. 84.53 inside that 85 time allowed. So that's our third clear. Luis Alejandro Plasencia from Mexico goes through with Jumpstar SIH. Starting to shape up nicely. I thought at the beginning we're going to see 7 or 8 clears. Might be 1 or 2 less than I originally thought, but you know, so many came very, very close. Nicholas Pizarro and both his came close. Jessica Mendoza, of course, for Great Britain. She came so close today on a horse that's been winning all over the place. So we could easily be sitting on 8 or 9 clears already. Sometimes it comes down to a little bit of luck. Luis Gerardo Castaneda is next. Untakeable. Second ride for Luis. He's been showing this horse for about 2 and a bit years now. Another one that comes to Spruce Meadows, Calgary. Picked up top 10 finishes in the 5-star competitions there. And placings, you know, at Spruce Meadows definitely need to be earned. You know, they bring the best course designers in the world there. You know when you go there, the time's going to be part of the test. It's going to be good, tough tracks that make the riders think. And long may that continue. Love having Spruce Meadows on my calendar every single year. Oh, let's take a bit of a correction down that line. Works out though. Another heartbreak on that single rail. Finishes up on a total of 8 faults, 84.56 for Luis Gerardo Castaneda. Marge says, I like the wide girth wrap, protect the horse from the spurs. That's exactly what it's for. It goes underneath the girth. You can just about see that stud guard girth on top there. But they're called belly bands. And they're exactly for that reason, because, you know, we clip the horses all year round now. It's not like the old days where there was kind of clipped in the season. They're clipped all year round, and it can make their skin a little bit sensitive. And, you know, sometimes if they land a bit funny or they twist through the air and they get caught with the spurs, it's the last thing we want. Horse welfare #1 for us. So you will see a few of them, if they've got a bit of sensitive skin, then they do tend to use those belly bands. Right, Patricio Pascal is next to go. Alicia Santa Rosa from Mexico. Tepic Porsche says, what a shame, I wanted to see them in the jump off. Oh, I know. There's been a few like that though, hasn't there? Real heartbreaks. This is Patricio's second ride. And he's a man who's no stranger to representing his country. He was second in the 5-star ranking competition in Monterrey in November. Seen him in the major league events as well. Jumped well at Thunderbird last season. A quick look on the Facebook Live chat, and Vivian Lewis says, way to go, Nico. Nico Gamboa, of course, guaranteeing us that jump off. Oh, just having a little bit of a play, and you can see Patricio's experience really shining through there. Just keeps this horse exactly where he needs to be. Whoa, whoa. Okay, let's watch the Soxer. Whoa. It's in deep, but makes the back bar. Ah, front rail on that Oxer. He answered about every single technical question on that course with such ease, and then just tickles that front rail on the Oxer. It does come down. We look at the time. He's the second fastest of the 4 fault rounds, so heads into 5th place. Nico Gamboa is the fastest 4 with his first stride, 79.31. Then Patricio there at 79.86, so heads into 5th place. But how many clears are we going to get? That's the question. We've got 16 left to see here in the first round. Today and Forevermore says, darn. Yeah, I think that's probably what Patricio was saying as well. Federico Fernandez is next. Davidoff, another partnership that know each other inside out. Federico, a 3-time Olympian. 2004, 2008, 2012. He's been to the World Equestrian Games 6 times. Amazing rider, to be fair. Showing here last weekend, had just a single time fault on the Grand Prix. But we've seen him in so many 5-star competitions with this horse. At Spruce Meadows last year in Monterey in November. They were part of the Nations Cup team in San Juan Capistrano at the Blenheim Equisports event in May. This horse has a great jumping style, really makes a nice bascule in the air. Very gymnastic type. Federico, let's get you through to that jump off. See him really using that upper body, really turning his head, keeping his shoulders parallel with the horse's shoulders. Using that upper body a little bit through the distance, but catches that rail. It's that energy carrying forward. So fastest 4 we've seen, 79.31. Fast 4 faults are going to be guaranteed money today. There's no way we're going to end up with 12 clears at this stage. Got to keep that in the back of your mind when you have a rail. Is it worth taking a bit more of a risk and getting your leg on? He goes for a slightly steadier one, and you know, I think he's really setting this horse up for the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup Puebla on Saturday. You know, that's a top horse. Claudia Michel comes back, second ride, Equinox, Dillapom for Mexico. Was campaigning here last week. Placed on a few occasions towards the end of last year in Mexico. This is a horse we've seen on quite a regular basis in France before coming to Mexico for Claudia to ride last September. And, you know, going at this stage in the competition, these athletes will have, you know, had a good chance to watch the other riders go over the course. Obviously, Claudia's already ridden a horse, so she's had an opportunity to be in the ring. But getting that opportunity to watch is such a useful tool because, you know, even if you walk it twice or 3 times even, sometimes you come in and a couple of the lines are at a distance, will just ride slightly differently than you walked. Oh, she was very reactive through there. Come on, Claudia. Wait. 85 seconds time allowed. Should be... Oh, just over. 85.73, 1 time fault. But you know, she put in a good performance today. The horse jumped really nicely. She's going to be guaranteed some good prize money. You know, she obviously goes above all those on 4 faults. So she's in 4th place at the moment. We've got 14 left to go, but we've seen the clear round ratio. So, you know, she's going to end up with a nice check. And if she plans on World Cup on Saturday, that horse is going to be leaving with a lot of confidence today after that round. So I think she should be happy. We saw her having to take a couple of checks, you know, as she was moving round, and I think that just caught up with her. Right, Jess Mendoza back with another one. This is Chuck Base, represents Great Britain, making her debut here in Puebla this week. This is another horse that I saw Jessica ride at the Royal Winter Fair in Toronto. She was 6th in one of the 4-star competitions there. 5th in the Welcome at Fort Worth in December. And this is a horse that we've really only seen Jessica jump internationally since October last year. It was with Jacob Helmstrom in the Netherlands before Jessica took over the reins. It's by Centadel. It's out of a Cannon mare. Horse has got a little bit of experience. It's 13 years old now. They put in some good performances at Toronto and Fort Worth, and obviously a very different test out here. You know, both those events indoors, smaller arena, out here a lot of space. With the experience that Jess brings, you know, that she's been gaining since, you know, pretty much when she could walk, all the way through the ponies, up to young riders, into the senior ranks. She'll be using that experience, you know, to get to know these horses quite quickly and to get the results. You can see her just taking a little check down there, just saying, come on, just listen, just wait. And that kind of reactiveness is what we really, you know, need to see in this sport. You know, you've got to have that feel, you've got to be reactive. That was a shame. Jessica's always had some good natural feel, you know, she's always been reactive. Well, on one hand, she's going to be so disappointed because she's jumped 2 great rounds, and on both occasions, you know, where those 2 horses ended up finishing on 4 faults. But on the other hand, you know, setting up for World Cup on Saturday, you know, that's job done for sure. And there was a lot to like about both this horse and the last one, so. But I'm sure there's still a little bit of disappointment that she's not going to be getting to jump off today. That was a shame, just carried that forward. Moving on next to Bordeaux, Arturo Parada Vallejo, and from Mexico. '12-year-old. Interestingly, this horse by Centadel as well. This is a 12-year-old gelding, this one. This is a horse that we saw on the stage in this competition last year. That was with Nicola Heinross in the saddle. Arturo takes over the reins. He was 4th last year with Nicolai, so it gives us a little bit of an insight to, you know, how this horse competes in this ring. Arturo took over the reins in May last year and had lots of success. He's top 3 finishes in Guadalajara, played a Kellerman, Monterrey, won the Welcome and the Grand Prix at 2-star level in Guadalajara in October last year. So they certainly bring some good experience forward. He's answered all the kind of big technical questions there. Oh, let's get set up for here. At 85 seconds, he's going to be fine, isn't he? Yeah, no problem at all. Straight through. Oh, no! 85.01. I honestly thought he was going to make that. Oh, talk about heartbreaks. We've mentioned them a few times, you know, with 4 faults, but to put in that performance and then be 1/100th of a second over the time and finish with a time fault. Again, the good news is he's going to take a prize check for sure. He's in 4th at the moment. Don't forget, you can get involved with the conversation. If you're watching on Facebook, watching on YouTube, use the comments box. Let me know where you're watching. Any questions, comments, good luck messages for these riders, stick them in there. You can find the start list results, live scoring, the course plan, all the fun stuff on longinetiming.com. That'll also give you the timetable of what else is going on at this event. And you can follow me on Instagram, search for Adam Cromarty. You can drop me a message on there, and I'll be posting some behind the scenes photos as we continue on through the weekend. But all that said and done, we are already on track with our next one. Juan Jose Salinas is riding this one by Legolas, Real de 14. They were 9th in the Grand Prix here last weekend, and Juan's been showing this horse for over 2 years now. Old one in Nico Pizarro's. They did a little bit of a European tour showing at Valkenswaard in the Netherlands and then Brussels as well last year. For those that are aiming, you know, for teams or championships, it's a shame. You know, it's good to get to the other side of the world, and that goes both ways. You know, if you're living in Europe and competing mainly in Europe, it's good to do a little bit of time over in North America, and if you're based in North America, great to go over to Europe, because if you're going to be going to games and championships or on teams, you've got to see what you're riding against. So I'm sure you've taken a lot away from that little tour with this horse last year. What a striking horse, some real nice dapples. See that on its crest, on that trapezius muscle in its neck. Really, so much to like about this horse. You try to keep that energy nice and contained, and all the power in the back end and the front end nice and light. You tried to do all the things. It just didn't quite come together a couple of times, but so much to like. Andrew McCulloch talking about the time allowed, saying it doesn't look tight. No, I think you're right, to be fair, Andrew. I don't think the time out there is tight. I think there's plenty of time to answer the questions. But if you're on a horse that maybe has a lot of blood or a lot of energy and you need to just take a check occasionally, or you know, you're on a horse that you need to really set up for a fence, it doesn't take too many checks to add up to a time fault. And that's not because of the time today. That's just the way our sport works now. You know, you've got to be able to travel at speed. And if you gave them an extra 2 or 3 seconds, I can guarantee today we'd have at least double in the jump off by now, probably a lot more. 2 or 3 seconds in this sport is just a lifetime these days. Manuel Gonzalez Dufresne on course, the horse behind a Bab de Rev outside of a Lorzed mare. Martilius, another one for the home nation. Almost second ride in the class. He's been riding this horse about 4 years now. He was second in the Grand Prix last weekend, 8th in the Welcome. So he's really on good form, this rider. See him having to take a check in places. A real active type. It's like the horse is always thinking forward. But that energy just catches up there through the double. 81.53 for faults. It is head 10th at the moment. next to his other horse, actually. He was 80.81 with the first horse, 81.53 with this one, and on both occasions finishing on 4 faults. So Manuel Gonzalez de Freyne sitting 9th and 10th at the moment with his rides. Down to the final 10 here in the first round. It's a 3-horse race in the jump off at the moment. Tepich is saying no jump off though, kind of sad. Only for them though. We do have a jump off, that's guaranteed. And this one could do it, you know. Martin Franco Stefan next. Dush Ermitrud for Mexico. Couple of top 10 finishes last November. This is a horse we saw in the Youth Championships 4 times. He was part of a gold medal winning team on one of those occasions. Second in the big competition in Guadalajara last summer. He's had this a couple of years now and got to know the horse very, very well. She really does do a good job. She's a very nice rider. And you can see her really turning her head, using the upper body, keeping her shoulders parallel with her horse's shoulders. Just comes in there with quite a lot of energy and then really has to sit and take a check. But got through there. All right, come on. You're so close. You've got out of trouble a couple of times. You've been reactive. All you need to do now is get home within the time and jump this tiny plank. Yes, inside, just 84.96. Obviously, she had to take a couple of checks here and there. That's why she's close to the time, but who cares? She's on the right side of the time, and you can see just how happy she is. She thinks a lot of that horse. They got on really well together. And, you know, we've seen a few unlucky rounds today, but she put in a top shelf performance and earns a clear. So we'll see her back for that jump off a little bit later on. Hi to Fathi, says, watching from Tunisia. Leo says, this looks like a repeat. Stop doing that like it's a new show. This is absolutely a new show. I hope it's not a repeat. I flew all this way and I'm sitting here watching it. I can guarantee it's not a repeat. We are here, we are live, and we're looking at your comments, Leo. But no, this is absolutely live, Leo. Jaime Ascaraga with us now, representing Mexico with Bailey's. 11-year-old stallion, this one. Early rail. So when you have that early rail in a competition like this, you've got to make that decision. You know, am I setting up for the weekend? And if I am, can I do it and be one of the fastest 4s? Or am I not setting up for the weekend? This is the competition, you know, that this horse is meant to be do well in, so I'm going to get my leg on. But all these riders have got a plan. You know, they all know what the objectives are here this weekend. 'So fastest 4, what we've seen, sits in 7th. Remember, we've got 2 on 1 time fault, so they're 5th and 6th. Then we've got the 4 clears at the top. So fastest 4s with Nico Gamboa, 79.31. It looks like he's moving forward. I think he's, you know, keeping an eye on that clock. Hoping to pick up some prize money if he can. Uh, 81.17, the 4 faults with that time puts him into 11th place, into 11th. Remember, an FEI competition, there's 12, at least 12 cash awards, regardless of the number of entries. If there's loads, then there's more, but even if there was only 10 entries, there still has to be 12 cash awards. So at the moment, he's in the money, he's in 11th, but we've got 8 left to come. Alejandro Mills next. Bretzel de Marie for Mexico. This is a horse that came over for France. Alejandro's been competing this one for about a year and a half now. He was 8th in the World Cup Grand Prix last year with this horse on this stage. And more recently, 4th in the 2-star Grand Prix here just last week. So the horse knows the ring. Horse and rider know each other. Certainly got the ingredients to do well here today. Hi to Danny Kalberg, who's watching. Mary Solis has just joined us from Ocala, Florida. Ocala's turned into a bit of a horse country as well, with the World Equestrian Centre. Having so many great events down there. I'll be commentating on their Grand Prix this Saturday evening by the wonders of technology, live from Mexico. If you're looking for something to do, 7 p.m. local time on Saturday. I think this is a horse, you know, that we'll see in the World Cup here on Saturday afternoon. Again, he would love to have been clear today and to have been a touch faster so he didn't get a time fault. He knows that they're set up perfectly for Saturday now. Alejandro Mills finishing on a total of 5:85.05. Hi to Leanne, who's watching from Wellington. Hope it's not raining still in Wellington. I know they've had some real bad weather over the last week or two. Hopefully that's all moved out the way now and you're back to sunshine. And we really are getting down to the final few here in this first round. We know we've got 4 heading to that jump off later on as well. Simon Salami Fracca with us now with So Nice, another one for the home nation. The home nation well represented, but we're seeing more and more nations come down to Mexico now, and you can kind of see why. You know, the facilities, the settings, the backdrops, the hospitality. Just had a quick glance on the YouTube chat there, and someone mentioning about how flat the cups are, and if you've got, Simon, that is a shame. If you've got really good eyesight, if you look for the yellow cups on course, they're about 3 millimeters shallower than the white cups. And the FEI rules, you know, do stipulate now where these have to be used. And the sport was delicate before those cups were invented, but even before then, you know, the course designers were, you know, using shallow cups at some fences and shaving the white ones. So now they've just brought in, you know, a properly shaved cup, if you like. So yeah, if you see a yellow cup on a fence, it's 3 millimeters shallower, and it does make it a little bit more delicate. For jumping, 3 for time, 7 total, 87.76 there. Sadly, we won't be getting onto our leaderboard. Plenty of talent still to see heading through to that jump off as well. 4 clears at the moment. Alberto Sanchez Quasar, CBS, fantastic now. This is a rider we've seen in the Central American Games, a different horse. Last year finished third individually, part of the team that took a gold. This is an Irish-bred horse that won the 5- and 6-year-old finals with Kevin Gallagher as a young horse. Now, of course, with Alberto, he was 6th last week here, the 2-star meter 45. Alberto got the horse in September of 22 and showed him in the 7-year-old finals in Monterey where they finished 3rd. So it's been a real success right from the get-go, this partnership. As I say that though, he takes the rail. Sits on 4. And now you've got to make the decision. Do you take an extra risk? Do you get your leg on and try and be fast? He certainly came into there with a bit of power, but then you've got to contain it. Oh, and it caught up with him. It's just carrying forward there. Down to the last on 12 and finishes on the 12 today, 82.23. Total of 12 there for Alberto Sanchez Cazar. CBS Cantastic for Mexico. Well, just 5 left to come. Huge thank you once again to everyone who is staying with us. Quite a few in the first round. There's going to be an exciting jump off to follow. Great to see so many people getting involved with the conversation as well, letting us know where you're watching from. Again, you can keep doing that, and if you've got any questions, stick them in that comments box below. If you want to say good luck to any of these riders, you can do that as well. Or just tell us where you're watching from. Say hello. Let me know you're there. You can do that on Facebook or YouTube. You can also drop me a message on Instagram. And again, if you want to see that volcano that everybody talks about here in Puebla, it's a major part of our backdrop. I did post a picture a little bit earlier on today on my Instagram, so you can have a look at my story on there. Just search for Adam Cromarty. Right, let's get this next one underway as we get down towards the business end, down towards the final few. Jose Alberto Martinez and the 15-year-old gelding by Quintero. This is Quinley. He's been to 2 World Cup finals, this man, Leipzig and Geneva. This partnership have been on good form. Won the 2-star Grand Prix in Guadalajara in September. Won a 3-star at that same venue, also during September, during that run of events. Did well in Monterey in the 5 stars in November. So really coming forward with some good experience, some good placings. And now hoping to add another one to that list today. Didn't want to say anything until he jumped that line, but could this be our next clear? What do you think? I think he's in with a super shot here. Come on. He's fine for time. Just got to jump this. Nicely done. He is through. 83.62. Really nice flea bitten grey. Immaculately turned out. Look at those plats as well. The grooms have been working hard down there. And Jose works hard. The horse works hard. It's all about the team effort. And it really pays off today. Right, let's take a quick look at the YouTube chat. Hi to Vornemy watching in Germany. Laurie Jones is in Idaho. Will we ever know? That's the YouTube name from Germany that says hello. Wendy Hawkins in Great Britain. Penny the Sassy Mare is watching in Canada. Los NTX, New Mexico. Yvette's in Hungary. Chardonna is in Ontario, Canada. And we'll grab some more of those in a second. But let's get Inacio underway here. Nacho Marin is next to go for Argentina with Conchado, 12-year-old by Canthargos. It's out of a Chaco Blue mare, this horse. We haven't actually seen this horse compete internationally since 2022, but in the past, shown in Netherlands, Germany, Belgium, little bit in Mexico as well. Mario Iñati's had this horse. Geronimo, who we saw earlier, Rodrigo Lambre, and others as well. So the horse certainly has a little bit of experience in there, and it's just had a bit of a break on the international circuit for one reason or another. I think he knocked the flag off there. For those that are new to the sport, all the fences have red and white flags, red to the right, white to the left. As he came through, he actually caught the flag. But as long as you're inside it, there's no penalty for that. This line's been a real test of adjustability all the way through, hasn't it? And you could hear him using his voice as well as that upper body in his rein. Are we going to see another? Is this going to be clear round number 6? Keep an eye on the clock. Just over 85.18. So close. Right, does go into 7th though. We've got 3 on 1 time fault. He's the middle of the pack. So he heads into 7th at this stage. Jaime Azcárraga has been pushed out of the money. He's 13th at the moment. So it's all the clears, those on a time fault, and then those who are really quick against the clock with 4 faults who still sit in the money. Hi to Judy watching in Washington State in the USA. Marianne is in Sweden, and Sandy in Ottawa, Ontario in Canada. More of those in a sec. Jesus Francisco Orantes is next, 9-year-old this one, called Lovely Women. Second last to go. He's second in the 2-star competitions at Spruce Meadows in a different horse. This horse started showing internationally in its 8-year-old year, so that was March last year. It's 9 now, for those that couldn't do that math. I have to get reorganised now. Wasn't really expecting that from this partnership, to be fair. Right, now gets back on track and it's going to try and give this horse a nice finish today. Obviously we're going to have time faults, that goes without saying now. Horse does make a nice shape over the fence. It's a long way home after that, though, isn't there? You know, it's kind of just academic. You just got to try and give the horse a nice finish, but then the last one comes down as well. Certainly not the day they were hoping for. A total of 40 and 108.33. Question is watching in South Africa. Is he in Italia in the UK? Hopefully it's stopped with the storms in the UK. I'll be back there on Wednesday. Laurel's watching in Nebraska. I was in Omaha for World Cup finals in Nebraska last year. Got great steak in Omaha. Vince Smokey is watching in Belgium. Pat K in Virginia. Yeah, great to have so many of you watching from all over the world, and thank you so much for getting involved with the conversation as always. Right, let's get this final one underway. Manuel Antonio Fernandez Hatchi and the 14-year-old Pampero last to go for the Dominican Republic. This is our last in the first round. We've got 5 to jump off against the clock. But it could be 6. No, it couldn't. Catches that oxer. So we know then 5 will be heading through to battle out against the clock. Fastest 4 faults is 79.31. Again, as soon as you have that second rail, it all becomes about giving the horse a little bit of education, a bit of ring time, setting up for something later in the weekend. And if you don't need to do any of that, then we've seen a couple, you know, stick their hand up and retire, because it really is academic as soon as you have that second rail. Manuel's going to give this horse a nice ride. Just catches another rail there. Few have had that. And again, as soon as he felt, you know, it just wasn't quite as he wanted it to be today, he does give that signal to the ground jury and elects to retire. So there we go, that's your lot in the first round. First round comes to an end. 44 in total go, and we see 5 clears. 5 will be coming back for that jump off against the clock. It's a bit of a conversation coming down towards that oxer, wasn't it? Well, here we go. Manuel Gonzalez de Freyne heading through. Nico Gamboa's in there. Luis Alejandro Plasencia, Martino Franco Stefan, and Jose Alberto Martinez all going through to that jump off against the clock. How many could we ended up with today? We could have had like 15 clears easily. You know, there were so many. We had those on a time fault, obviously. They could have just gone a little bit faster. But those on 4 faults, you know, we saw some real unlucky rails coming down there today. So our course designer and her team are going to get us set and ready for that jump off against the clock. I think Marina Azevedo did a good job today. I know we only ended up with 5 clears, but again, you know, if you include those in a time fault, then we're up to 8. You know, we could have, again, you know, had another couple of those 4 faulters going through. So I think she set a very good test out there today. I think the time allowed was good. And I think, you know, that they're now well set up for the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup that we're going to see here on Saturday. MD says, need to go. Have a good day week, everyone. Well, thanks for joining us, MD. Shame you couldn't wait for the jump off. You're never going to know who's won. We'll be quick, I promise. The riders are going to go as fast as they can. But if you need to go, we'll let you. And thank you for watching. If anyone else does have any comments, any questions, if you just want to say hello, again, now's a great time. We've got a bit of time to kill as we get ready for that jump off. So do get involved with the conversation, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on YouTube, or again, sending me a message through Instagram. Hi to Terry, who is watching in Omaha. He's just sent me a message on Instagram to say he was actually at the World Cup finals in Omaha. And it was the first time he'd gone to a big event. It's one he'll never forget. Yeah, Omaha was fantastic. I was there the first time we had World Cup finals there a few years back. It was great to be invited back. I did the ring announcing there. And the audiences were just electric. It was just such an amazing event. This time the World Cup finals are going to be held in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. So that's where, you know, for those that are here on Saturday that are earning those points to try and qualify, that's where their final is going to be. Will We Ever Know says it's a beautiful arena. Yeah, it really is. And again, you know, the backdrop behind those trees, you can see right down over Puebla. Again, if you want to have a look at that picture, I stuck it on my story on Instagram. You can have a look on there, but you can see the volcano, you can see Puebla. It's just such a stunning backdrop here. Hi to Jocelyn, says hello, back from lunch. Does that mean you're working today, Jocelyn? So you had lunch and didn't have us, but now you're back at work. We can be live again with you. Well, the team doing a good job there, getting us set and ready. Then we will be back underway. You can see that backdrop now, actually. And there you go, you can see that volcano. If you look just to the left of your frame, it looks like a bit of a mountain with some cloud above it. It's not cloud, it's smoke, and it is coming out of that volcano. So there's two volcanoes sitting next to each other. The other one's completely dormant. But this one's still very active. And then look at that backdrop of Puebla behind the trees there. Such a stunning venue. Will We Ever Know says, hope to see some of them over in Europe next year. Or this year, sorry. Yeah, I think you will actually. You know, we're getting into an Olympic year, so for sure you're going to see some of them coming over for Paris. And as they prepare for Olympics, you know, even if they get longlisted or shortlisted, they might be heading over to Europe. Because as I mentioned earlier, you know, it's great whether you're in Europe, you know, if you're in Europe, come over to North America, ride against some of the fastest ones in the world. People like, you know, McLean Ward, Kent Farrington, some of the riders that we're about to see in this jump off for sure, and vice versa. You know, if you're in North America, you got to head over to Europe and see what the competition like out there. If you're going to championships, if you're going to games or Nations Cups, League of Nations now, of course. You see some of the materials being moved. So even if those jumps aren't being used, rather than just flagging them off, sometimes they'll actually remove the material, and that really opens things up. So you no longer have to look for the tiny gaps. You can make your route. And you know, it can make things easier. Most of the time it makes things easier. Especially at this level, because you know these riders are all experienced. Those without the same level as experience as these guys, you know, when you're starting out and you're doing your jump offs and they remove the material, you do have to start to think a little bit more. You know, how tight were you turning when that jump was there? Because you don't get a chance to walk now the material has been taken out. You inspect the jump off course when you inspect the first round, and you sort of make your plan for the jump off then, unless you're really superstitious. But most of them will have a look. So now that material's been taken out, your kind of lines change a little bit. You've got a bit more room. Do you go a little bit wider there, or do you still sneak through the gap? That sort of thing. You can see right towards the centre of your frame, the member of the arena crew there doing a great job. He's picking up little pieces of wood. We call them shims. And sometimes, you know, the cup strips on the jump wings, they move up in 5 centimetre increments. But sometimes you don't want to be at 5 centimetres and put the fence over height, or sometimes you want to put it down a little bit, but you don't want it to go down a full 5 centimetres. So we can actually use these shims to then, you know, put it up. So sometimes you will drop the fence by 1 hole on the jump standard, but then you'll use shims to put it back up a couple of centimetres. So that's how kind of precise and accurate the measuring is in these sorts of competitions. Rodent Razor's asking about the poles. Are they wooden or plastic? These poles are all wood. If you again notice just to the left of your screen there, you'll see the yellow cup, and you can see a little bit of grey just on the edge of the cup, and that's actually a plastic cap. And that's to make sure that the poles don't get damaged at the ends, but it also helps the poles roll off easily. You know, if the jump rail has been used a little bit and it starts to not be perfectly round, then it becomes less delicate. So by putting those plastic caps on the end of the rail, it keeps it perfectly round. So it's the same for everybody. And they do have some plastic rails in some competitions, but they have to be weighted, because a lot of people that use plastic rails at home, you know, they're very kind of flimsy, and as soon as you kind of breathe on them, they fall over. So, you know, they would have to be weighted. And at the moment, they're developing a type of composite rail. You know, for those that have the kind of plasticky front door, a composite front door, you'll know the material I'm talking about. because you know these rails, these wooden rails, they always look excellent at FEI competition or your big national championships, but for those other kind of venues that run shows week in, week out, to keep maintaining these rails is a lot of work because they get chipped so easily when the horses hit them, or you know they're left out lying in the weather. So they are developing new composite rails which aren't shiny plastic. They look a little bit like wood, but that they're not going to require so much work. And I saw some of them being used at an international last year. And I have to say, at the moment, I'm not a fan, because when you hit them, they actually kind of bow and bounce up and down in the middle. And the ends don't really move at all. So you can really come down quite hard on a pole. It won't fall out the cups. It'll just kind of bounce around and wiggle in the cups. But I know they're still very much in development, and I think once they get it right, they could be very useful. But at the moment, I think wood's my favourite. Damien says, is this the end? Oh, it's only the beginning, Damien. You don't want to go now. We've come to the end of the first round, but we are waiting for the jump off against the clock. And we've got 5 riders who are going to come in and go very, very quickly and try and win this competition. So yeah, make sure you stay with us for this jump off against the clock. Do not go anywhere. Marge Little Boy says, aren't they also using vinyl wraps over the wood? On the standards, you sometimes see kind of vinyl kind of sticker and wraps. I have also seen as well, back in my kind of pony club days, where you could actually buy, they're almost like pole-shaped carrier bags, if that makes any sense whatsoever. And you could slot the rail into this, and it kind of made it shiny and it looked like it was just been painted. But it was just a covering that the pole slid into. But we wouldn't see that in FEI competition. Rodent Raider says, where do you learn all this, Adam? From riding since I was 3, then becoming a coach, then becoming an FEI judge. And maybe I just make it up, Rodent Raider. Have you ever considered that? Maybe it's all made up. It's not, a promise. But yeah, it's just being around the sport, living and breathing it. Chardonnay says, best jump off I saw was Ian Miller in Big Ben. That's an incredible horse, was. And he's still remembered. Every single year at the Royal Windsor Fair, they have the Big Ben International Challenge there. Ian Miller still very much a part of the sport now, as you know, a kind of supporter. Joycelyn says, I hope the volcano doesn't explode. So do I. I meant to be flying out of here on Sunday. There was some activity, and there's always a little bit of activity, to be fair. You know, that smoke that you see, there was some volcanic ash on some cars yesterday, but you know, it's not something they really worry about here because it's just so active all the time. Marge says, can you explain to people about the Liverpool jumps and the water that we're seeing? I think you mean that big patch of water that's in the middle. So yeah, Liverpool water trays. I believe they're actually called Liverpools because for those that are maybe from the UK or have been to Liverpool, there's a big stretch of water called the Mersey, and it goes between Liverpool and Cheshire, kind of Ellesmere Port way. And that's that stretch of water. You can actually get, there's a song, Ferry Across the Mersey, you can get the ferry across there, and there's that stretch of water. So I believe that's why they're called Liverpool water trays. We saw them in the first round, you know, they're underneath the fences. Again, in national competitions, sometimes you wouldn't have them filled up with water, but in the international, you always try and have water in them. You can see the Harrods have just gone over it there. And just because the attention to detail here, and to be fair, at most FEI shows, is so high, they actually put some blue dye in it. So it's got water in and it's got blue dye, which is really how you can, you know, if you've got eagle eyes, you can actually still see the water because it's got that blue dye in there sitting on the top. Riley's just rejoined us as I'm back. Hi to Abra watching from Nigeria. Good to have you with us. I think that's our first viewer from Nigeria today. I'm not sure if you win anything. I don't think you do, but good to have you with us. A few people commenting, you know, how great the view is, and it is pretty spectacular. If you've just tuned in and you maybe heard us talking about the volcano, that is the volcano you can see to the left of your screens right now. The little bits of white you can see coming out the top is volcanic activity. There's a second volcano sitting just next to it. Kind of looks like a bit of a hill or a mountain. And it's called something like the Sleeping Lady, because it looks like a lady on her side having a snooze. But let's take a look at who's coming back. Manuel Gonzalez de Frein, Nico Gamboa, Luis Alejandro Plasencia, Martino Franco Stefan, and Jose Alberto Martinez. All coming back to battle out against the clock. So we've got Mexico for the home nation and also Colombia. And I tell you what, they're all competitive riders. This is wide open. What do you guys think? Do you think, have you got a clue? Who do you think could take it? DD Eventing says, when does the jump off start? Any minute, I promise. Like, I'm here, I'm ready. The horses are getting organised as well. But, you know, this event is run by riders for riders, and the attention to detail really is fantastic. And they want to make sure before they jump off, you know, the horses are going to be turning tight, they're going to be going at high speed. They just want to make sure the track's as fantastic as it can be. And to be fair, this is very good footing. A few of the riders have already commented that the horses are sort of pinging off this surface here. You can actually see the Liverpool we were talking about there with the Durrell vertical. That Liverpool water tray sitting underneath with the water in it. Right, hold on to your hats. This is going to be fast for sure. Remember, they come back in the same order as they jump clear. Here we go then, Manuel Gonzalez de Frein, Horntessa van der Lerweg, experienced partnership. We've seen them go against the clock on so many occasions. But this will give us a great little tour round of this jump off. So we're starting in the same place over fence number 1. And we're coming round towards new fence, fence number 15. Oh, he's getting his leg on, it's the wall jumping backwards, that's 15. Then we come round towards 16. Or if the fences are reversed, they have to be renumbered. So that's 16 there. 12 AB comes forward next. Double, vertical to Oxer. Catches the Oxer there. 3 efforts left, we're down to 13. That was a plank in the first round, it's now a rail. So they can keep moving forward into it. 10 A's next, and then we finish over 11. And 38.01. That's going to be a good time, you know. But Shane just has that one rail. Bonamy says this horse is a beauty. Yeah, you're right. Real nice horse, got all the ingredients. And he really wanted to add the pressure on today because he knew there were some fast ones coming behind him. Speaking of fast ones, here's the 23-year-old Nico Gamboa, NKH Vittorio S. Had 2 horses in the first round. His other horse is going to finish 9th today, fastest 4-fault round. But let's see where this one's going to end up. You see, he starts with a real good open stride. He's going to keep that rhythm. Has to just take a little bit of a check to set up for the wall. Uses the upper body in the turn here. Keeps moving forward. Oh, caught that front rail. Now just having to take a bit of a check to set up because that's quite a delicate vertical coming into that double. Two down. But you know, when you come into the jump off, there's only 5 of you. You've got to pull out all the stops. Got to be in it to win it. And it really is all about risk and reward. Finishes up 8 faults, 44.69. Guaranteed to finish top 5 though here today, and take another placing in the top 10 with his first ride. So certainly not a bad day at the office. He'd have been a real contender today for sure. All right, we've got 3 left to go in this jump off. Luis Alejandro Plasencia is next, Jump Star. Remember, at this stage, we don't have a double clear. Just asking for the countdown to be paused there. And now we're ready. If he can go clear, he's going to be placed top 3 today. But I know Luis is going to be quite quick and want to put the pressure on the final 2. He's not going flat out. He's taking quite a nice economic route. He's moving forward when he can, but he's really setting up well for these fences. Whoa, wait. And then moves forward. Nicely through there. It's 10A and 11, this final line now. He might just keep moving forward. Thinking about this fence, so it caught a couple in the first round. There's our first double clear, 42.08. That's going to be the standard. That's going to be the time to chase here. 42.08. Luis Alejandro Plasencia and Jump Star setting a standard for us here. And that's it. Pressure well and truly on. Now, we have seen that time beaten by about 4 seconds by our first to go. But I don't know, what do you do? Do you try and catch that, or do you go for the steadier clear knowing it's going to be good enough for the top 3? Well, we can see this horse is saying, let me at them, mum, let me at them. Martina Franco Stefan now from Mexico. She rode such a brilliant first round. She was very reactive. She's on the pace. Again, she's just been a little bit safe there. And you've got to, tiny blocks on the top. But wow, look at the way this horse can turn and keep moving forward. But do we have a check there? Yes, good, and keep going. Oh, she's on his heels for sure. Lands here. She's up on the clock by 3/10. I think that's still in the cups. Oh, this could be a good one. Slices through here. Opens up, down to the last. Has she done it? Pushes on through. And there's your new leader, 40.93. Martino Franco Stefan now leads for Mexico, 40.93. We saw the big smile. We saw the emotion in the first round. And she is going to be so pleased with that little horse. And it was sneaky around those turns. That horse can turn and move at the same time. And look at that emotion there as she crosses the finish line. Great to see. Well, if my maths is right, we've got 1 left to come. We've got that new time to beat, 40.93. What do you think at home? Has she done enough? We're about to find out. Jose Alberto Martinez and Quinley are last to go. 40.93 time to beat. So much love coming in there from Martina. Today in Fivermore says, I love her. She's a sister from another mister. Marge Little Boy says, happy girl, nice smile. Peach Porsche says, yes. Right, let's go. Let's find out how this final chapter is going to unfold here. Remember, we've seen a time at 38.01 with 4 faults. Martina's time's 40.93, so we know the time can be beaten. This is a real striking flea bit in grey, isn't it? Very nice to look at, this horse. Oh, he's not hanging around. I'd be biting my nails if I was Martina, because he is in it to win it. He's up on the clock. If he keeps moving and leaves these fences up, he's going to be your winner for sure. One to come as he powers on down to the final fence. Gives it a rattle, but it's up, and there's your winner. Jose Martinez takes the victory today with Quinley. 38.61. Came in, knew exactly what needed to be done. Pulled it out the bag under the pressure that had been laid on there by Martino Franco Steven. A great win there for him, 38.61. Let's take a look at the full result. It has been confirmed. Jose Alberto Martinez and Quinley taking the top honours, 38.61. Martino Franco Stefan takes second. And Luis Alejandro Plasencia finishing up in third place. Well, very exciting jump off. It had all the ingredients. It was never going to disappoint, and it certainly didn't. But congratulations there to Martina as well, because that was a clash round, and it was nice seeing just how much it meant to her. But once again, a massive, massive thank you to everyone who's been watching online and who's been getting involved with the conversation. Always great to chat to you guys. And of course, we're back here doing the same thing on Sunday. We'll be live on YouTube, we'll be live on Facebook. And if you want to find out the timings for any of the competitions, if you want to take a quick look at the results or the course plans that the riders get to see, head along to longinetiming.com. And don't forget, I'll be putting some behind-the-scenes pictures on my Instagram as we continue on through the weekend. So if you want to search for me on there, search for Adam Cromarty, C-R-O-M-A-R-T-Y. Search for me on there. And yeah, I'll be back here on Sunday. But don't forget as well, Saturday, Longines FEI jumping, World Cup Puebla, only available on FEI TV, Clip My Horse. So make sure you've got your subscription organised for that one. If you don't join us live on Saturday, then of course we will be on all the sports channels as well. The highlights will be televised around the world on various sports channels earlier in the week. So keep an eye out on your local listings, kind of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, somewhere around there. Depending on where you are, you'll probably find the highlights of that World Cup on TV. But thank you once again to everyone who's been joining us. Happy Burns Day for all those Scottish people, all the people that have got Scottish heritage that are celebrating that today. But a huge thank you to you that have been getting involved with the conversation and keeping me company. I haven't been to bed since I left the UK yesterday with all the travelling. So that's where I'm heading now. But whatever you're up to for the rest of your day, make sure you enjoy it, and we'll see you back here very soon.
Al ganador de esta noche, Puebla 1.50m de México, José Alberto Martínez Vázquez, y le vamos a pedir al público que se ponga de pie para escuchar el himno nacional en honor al ganador. En cuarto lugar, de México, Y el quinto lugar para Colombia, Nicolás Gamboa, minuto a NKH Inferior S. Y bien, vamos a unir a la hora de las participaciones más a las saludos de la tienda de Sega Verde, la tienda de Puebla. El ganador de la Regional Especial Sevilla Primera el día de hoy es Augusto Martínez Vázquez de México.
Puntos en 30-79, el tiempo que imponen en esta prueba Natalia y Messi, aquí, 30-79.
apago y prendo 20 antes.
¿Puedes switcharme a tu cámara?
Ok, tú me cuando ya pueda apagarla.
Especial, artículo 274, 2.5. Quiere decir que tienen que terminar las dos fases y cuenta el tiempo de la segunda fase. Una distancia de 300 metros, la primera fase con una cadencia de 375 metros por minuto y un tiempo concedido de 48 segundos. La segunda fase es del 7 al 12 con una distancia de 360 metros y un tiempo concedido de 58 segundos. Iniciamos jinetes a las 3:20 de la tarde.
Sí, sí. Sí, 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 sí. 1, 2, 3.
7, 8, a ver. Si hay algo que pase de que no vengamos cómodos, no, entonces no nos piensen.
Aquel, hasta allá, te retiras ahí. Sí, sí, sí. Y de aquí, derechitas.
Aquí empieza la segunda fase. Aquí,